What's up, guys? I don't make much content on my YouTube channel. It's typically stream highlights, but now and again I'll have a thought to do with CS or something else that I want to talk about. And today's one of those days because it's been on my mind for a while, but I really felt an urge to talk about it today because as time goes on, I realize more and more that CS is being left behind in some aspects that it really doesn't need to be. I still think the game itself is flawless by and large. You can argue about balancing and maybe economy issues and, all the rest of it, but CS at its core is a phenomenal game. And I really think it does deserve a better matchmaking side and a better matchmaking client. So I'm going to be talking about that today. I think CSGO's matchmaking needs an overhaul. I think it's outdated and it has been for a while. I'm not saying it's terrible because it's not, but it's also not great. It's mediocre. It's serviceable. And I really do feel like Counter-Strike deserves more. I think it deserves a lot more love in this respect. Whether we'll get it or not, only time will tell. My instinct tells me we won't, but I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd love that Valve did come out and give CS a little bit more love. So my main issue with the matchmaking is it's stale. Nothing's really changed. You had the Prime brought out, which was to try and tackle a lot of the cheating issues and the scourge that was kind of falling upon CS and putting a lot of people off. And it kind of worked and caused a few issues. Some people got wrecked with low trust factor, which put them into awful games. They didn't know why they had low trust factor. And worse still is they didn't know what their trust factor was. There is no way to find out unless you queue with other people. That's still a thing in the game all this time later, which is madness if you think about it. You can't tell by looking at a page what is my trust factor. How is it based? Is it a scale? Is it like an MMR for trust factor? Once you hit a certain amount, you've got good trust factor again? We don't know. It's not out there to find out. So your guess is as good as mine regarding what your trust factor is. Often people find out because they try and queue with a friend and it says your friend has a different trust factor to you. That's how they find out. And that's madness. That needs to be changed. That needs to be brought into the game at the very least, I think, before I even talk about anything else. But other than that and a few visual tweaks to what the badges look like, the rank badges, matchmaking is basically the same, just with some maps taken out and putting back in again. When a map is getting worked on, it may get taken out of the pool and then it's put back in. And that's it. The matchmaking itself has not changed. It's still the same ranks. So it needs an overhaul. And I think the overhaul would only benefit the game. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that CSGO is dying. I'm not going to try and be a doomsayer and say that without these changes, we're destined for CS to die. I just don't believe that at all. I think CS is in a very healthy, a very good place right now. One of the best places it's ever been. Its player count is surging. A lot of people are really enjoying themselves. That next generation of young gamers are going to be breaking through now and getting their hooks into Counter-Strike and really enjoying it. And they will be the stars of the future. And that's amazing. I love that that's a thing. I love that's the case. And long may it continue. But I think having a good matchmaking client or side at its core is only going to make CSGO healthier, is only going to make CSGO better. And that's all I care about, is having this game around for as long as possible and being as enjoyable as possible. So first things first, I would like to see some kind of seasons put into the game. I'm not talking about competitively in terms of like LANs. I know some people have brought this idea up, and I'm not completely against the idea of having seasonal maps. So say like every quarter of a year you switch over which maps are being played at LANs. I'm not talking about that. This is completely separate. If you wanted to bring that and coincide them, fine. I'm up for that. But what I mean by seasons is more of like the League of Legends format, where every 3 or 4 months maybe, again, arbitrary number, you can insert one here yourself. Let's say every 3 or 6 months or something like that, the ranks get reset. You keep your MMR, but your ranks get reset, so you'll be playing again with people of similar ranks, so you're not playing with silvers when you're playing your placement games. But your MMR stays roughly the same, you reset your ranks, and you go again. What I'd love to see put into the game is to finally be able to see what your rank is with the MMR or the ELO. Because again, right now, we don't know. You have a very basic rank. That's it. Just a static rank. You are Global Elite or you are Supreme Master First Class, but you can't see within the confines of that rank where you are. Now, Global Elite is such a broad ranking system. I honestly believe that CSGO falls into two main ranks. There is silver to global elite, and then there's global elite. And that's basically the ranks. Because within global elite, there are so many different skill levels and so many different kind of players in there. Just because you're global does not mean that you're a good player. It really doesn't. I've seen so many global players that are awful, and I've seen a lot of Master Guardians that are really solid players. A lot of pro players, for example, don't have a matchmaking rank, and if they do, they're not even potentially global elite, and these are pro players, some of the best players in the world. What does that tell you about matchmaking? Not even the pros give a shit. Not even the pros care about it. Because it's a flawed system. Because it's not great. So I'd like to see some kind of seasonal thing come into play here. And I'd love to see things like stats brought into play. Comprehensive, solid statistics. Kill to death ratio, headshot percentage, effective utility. What maps are you better on? What side are you better with? What's your favorite gun? All these kind of stats, I think, would just be such a solid boost to interest. I'm definitely somebody that enjoys reading through stats. Like, I enjoy being able to see what my own stats are. And I think a lot of people will be intrigued, and they'll be curious if there's stats up there to see how they are as players, where they can improve, and just have this information. We did at some point, I'm not even sure if we still have stats. I don't know if you can see it from here on the screen, maybe not. There used to be statistics in the game, but it was just really basic ones, and it wasn't really that developed. So I know that Valve have had it in the game before. Why not expand on it? Why not expand and give us proper statistics and do it seasonally? I realize that backlogging now, if someone's played like 7,000 hours like I have, backlogging from the start of Counter-Strike is unreasonable, but give us statistics seasonally at least. That could be really cool. That could be awesome. And you could compare and contrast your previous seasons with your current season, so you could see if you'd improved or if you got worse and what areas you got worse. And it could act as a really good learning tool for newer players to improve themselves. I don't really see any drawbacks from that. I think it only adds to the game. It doesn't take anything away. I also think that matchmaking needs incentives. I really do. Now, I realize that I'm from an older school, an older train of thought when it comes to games. Like, when I played back in the day, there were no incentives. You didn't even have, you know, global elite or any of these things. But the fact is that with the times, games have evolved, they've adapted, and they've just got better in many ways. And in some ways, it's basic stuff. It's like the UI stuff. It's these added little bells and whistles that will get people interested. And when you have other games providing it and CS isn't, you just see again that CS looks a little bit stale in that respect. So I'd like incentives to come in. I'd like someone to have an incentive and a reason to actually try and reach the top percentages of ranks or percentages of MMR or ELO or whatever you want to call it, to give people a specific skin. These are ideas. It doesn't have to be a skin, but graffiti, skin, sticker, maybe a couple of cases, like whatever it is. You don't even have to make them tradable. You could... What FIFA does is you can basically trade up to packs where you open the pack and you can potentially get great players in there, but you can't sell them on the market. You'd give a similar thing for Counter-Strike for reaching certain percentages of ranks per season. Okay, so you came in the top 5 or 10% of this season. Here, you get 2 cases with these special skins and you can't sell them, but you can have them, and that'll always be on your account. That is a way that you can look back and say, Jesus, you know, in this season, I performed to that level, and that will always be with your account. Similar to like a Pick'em trophy, or similar to one of the operation coins, you know, that you'll have in your inventory if you've been around a while like I have. These are things that won't go anywhere, and they just remind you, I did this, I was around during that time. And that's going to be a really cool thing that people work towards, and people will work towards them, especially if they're into skins, and especially if the skins are decent. They'll work their ass off for that free content. You better believe they will. I certainly will. But I think incentivizing it, having seasonal ranking systems put into place. Now, there's a couple of other things that I know people are going to bring up. And honestly, I don't know what the fix is, because Valve has been pretty clear with its complete lack of response that 128 tick servers won't be coming to matchmaking anytime soon, if ever. I'm not holding my breath for that one. And so I don't even really want to bring up like, oh, 128 tick servers would be great, because everyone already knows this. It's not really blowing anyone's mind to say the 128 tick servers and matchmaking would be a huge step forward. Of course it will be. I just don't see it happening. I've heard a few reasons for this, one of which is it would put more pressure and more strain on people's PCs and potentially internet connection, and so people that have worse PCs would kind of be forced out of the game. Obviously, if that's not a myth and that's legit, that is kind of unreasonable for those people. At the same time, though, how long does CS hold itself back for those people that don't have better PCs? How long do people hold back on improving the game, you know, for a very small select few for the greater good? I'm not sure. That's an interesting topic, I suppose, and one that I haven't really thought about too much. But I almost feel like it's a moot point, because I think everyone agrees that would be a great step forward, right? The registration when you've played FACEIT client or ESCA client back to matchmaking is night and day. 64 tick sucks. Like, it does suck. 120 tick is way better. Everyone that's experienced this knows that's the case. The other issue that a lot of people talk about is cheating. That in the clients, FACEIT, ESCA, there's much less cheaters. And I would agree with that. But I would also say that cheating is inevitable. It's unfortunate byproduct of playing online. You're never going to be able to stamp out all cheaters. It doesn't matter how good your anti-cheat is. Riot, remember the whole Vanguard thing? Going to destroy cheaters, like, going to be more successful than any anti-cheat before. Yeah, about that one, Chief. You're always going to have cheaters. Like, it's just a fact. It's a matter of fact. And so matchmaking, FACEIT has cheaters, ESCA has cheaters in there. If you think that their anti-cheat stop everything, you're having a laugh. It's not the case at all. I do think that the cheating issue is nowhere near as bad as people make out, though. Now, there are issues with low trust factor and non-prime matchmaking, and that probably is a cesspool, but honestly, I haven't really experienced it myself that much, so I wouldn't want to make ignorant statements about this. But a lot of people even accuse other players of cheating a lot in my experiences in matchmaking, and I have good trust factor, and I also play like global elite levels of games, and I haven't really experienced many obvious cheaters, man. I think the issue is it's more of a mentality. It's more of an overarching view from the community that cheaters are everywhere. It's this paranoia that sets in. Someone that pulls off a 6 shot or is having a crazy game, like a really good game, must be cheating. Someone's just a really, really good player, and for all you know, could be like a pro and a smurf, must be cheating. Like, this mentality is infectious, and it will infect the rest of your teammates. I've seen it happen so many times, where somebody will assume someone just landed a dirty shot, and they accuse of cheating. They'll keep accusing of cheating every time they die now. Now everyone's cheating on the enemy team, and now everybody on your team now believes that they're all cheating, and no one can be bothered anymore. And people take that mentality and that thought process into the next match. Oh, I've just been cheated, therefore every single game there must be a cheater. And it just keeps spreading, and it keeps spreading, and it keeps spreading. And it's this really dangerous thought process that I think people are in their own minds too much. They're mind gaming themselves way too much. What I'd say is, if you think someone's cheating on the other team, drop a report and just move on. Give people the benefit of the doubt. If they are cheating, and especially if they're not trying to hide it and they're obviously cheating, those reports will go through to Overwatch, and that person's going to get banned. It may take a while, but they will get banned. Rest assured, eventually it should catch up with them. So just drop a report, move on. I know it sucks to be in a situation where you're against hackers. It's a demoralizing feeling, but it is just part of online games, and Counter-Strike is no different. Counter-Strike is not exempt from cheating. There's cheaters every single game that you'll play online, barring pretty much none. So it's just something you've got to accept. Either way, I could go into more depth about this, but I think I'll leave it there for now. I'm curious what you guys think, if you agree or disagree, if there's any points that you'd like to raise. I just really fail to see how the ideas that I've brought up would negatively impact Counter-Strike. I think it would only improve the experience of CS. I think it would only make Counter-Strike a more enjoyable hobby for a lot of people, especially casual players, and potentially hook them in and get that hunger in that they will play even more. They will move across eventually to FACEIT client, an ESEA client. But if matchmaking were to improve to such a degree where a lot of these issues were dealt with, you never know. Maybe people wouldn't jump across to Faceit and ESEA anymore because there would be no need to. Matchmaking would be good enough. Only time's going to tell, guys. Anyway, I'll see you on the next stream or in the next video. Take care of yourselves, guys. Peace.